um, it's not a very open game, so your bishop being here and not being able to go anywhere is fine for the time being, because eventually I'm assuming it will be opened up, its diagonal will, or you can force it to open up. I'm assuming there's a reason you played your rook to e8 is that you're hoping to eventually get this file open, which would give your bishop that freedom to move. But this is just nothing to really worry about, nothing to panic over and make a move like that to try to give it space, because I mean his bishop is also completely dead, and he's not going to be moving it too far, and it's going to have to take him a move to get there, but he's not in any rush to, so you shouldn't be either. So just with every move, you got to look at what his pieces can do, and that move just has a red flag, because you're already your light squares kind of become weak, but it has a red flag because his knight's so deep in your position. So you have to look kind of, I know it's very basic and elementary, but you do have to kind of look at where his pieces can go if you do what you do. So, I mean, that's kind of, like I said, basic and sounds kind of stupid. Like, why would you say that? Of course, you have to do that. But in this case, it just happens to be, obviously, it creates such a weakness, and his knight can go here, and we have to give up a knight to save our queen by, so we have to play there in order to save our queen, and that's a losing position 100%. The game is over. So, but he did play b6, and this is also a really good spot to talk about why you should play against a human, because if you played b6 against a human, he's not gonna let you off the hook, because he's, especially a like decent or intermediate player, is going to be looking for spots to try to trap your queen or get a free pawn or something. That's just kind of like the limited scope they have, and when you play a move like this, they're gonna find this play 100%, and the computer just decided to be very nice to you and did not make the play. So as played, everything would be fine, and then he does you another favor by still not deciding to make that play. And then queen f3, and rook e4 was played. This is a spot where we have some things to work on. The reason rook e4 was played, according to Trent's notes, was that he feels that well, first of all, he says he's attacking the bishop. I mean, that's true. But he feels that giving up this huge pawn, letting his pawns become doubled, and his position, his pawn structure just becoming rotten, doesn't concern him, because he said his pieces are further developed, or not further developed, let's say more developed. Yeah, he said his pieces are more developed than white's. Um, I, I'm not entirely sure about that. I don't see it. But to make things easier, let's just, this is what happened, and we can say that our pieces are more developed than sorry about that, that our pieces are more developed than whites. But what kind of advantage does that really give us when we're at the end of the game? So it's not like white has lots of catching up to do. All he has to just play e3. All he has to just play e3, bishop d3, and then king d2, and he's gonna fight for the e file with his rooks. His bishop's on the better diagonal; it's controlling more of the board from d3, and black loses a tempo when the bishop comes to d3, and he has to move his rook out. So then white is developing, I guess, his bishop and putting it on a much better diagonal. So also with this extra development that we supposedly have, we're not able to do anything. The game is so closed down and closed off, and it's just going to be kind of a positional battle, so to speak. And I don't really see how we're, in any kind of have any kind of edge for us to allow our pawns to be doubled and completely. These two pawns are doubled here, and this pawn is just alone and isolated. I think when I used to read chess books, it was called like Pawn Island. I don't know, something stupid like that. Anyway, the only time I could see this being okay is if we had like a lot of pieces on the board in a really good attacking position, and he was threatening to give us a bad pawn structure, and we would allow it because we have such an edge with our development of, like, say we had like knights and a queen still on the board and a bishop, just in an attacking position. Then we could assume that we could either get him in checkmate if he and just ignore the fact that our pawn's structure will be bad because we don't need to worry about pawn structure because we're not feeling the endgame will come and that will be a problem, or we feel that we'll be up a piece by the endgame so our pawn structure won't be as bad of a thing.